Hello, how are you today? I am going to be discussing the principles of training.
Good afternoon. One is delighted to see you. I must say I am very excited to learn about the principles of training. I am afraid I may have many questions to ask you.
Excellent. Shall we get started? What would you like to know first?
What are the main principles of training?
That's a good question. There are 6 principles you need to understand. Individual needs/differences, specificity, progressive overload, rest and recovery, the fit principle, and finally reversibility.
Goodness, that sounds like such a lot to remember. What does each one mean?
Okay, individual needs is exactly what it says. What are the individual's personal needs? For example, one individual may have a knee injury. So when you are deciding what to include in their personal exercise program, PEP, you would have to include exercises that are not going to hurt their knee more.
Okay. So could you change the PEP depending on what their goals are? For example, if I wanted to lose weight, I would include aerobic activities such as continuous running, whereas if I wanted to build muscular strength, I would include a weight training program.
That's correct. Well done. Sounds like you are getting the right idea. You've also started to apply the principle of specificity in your example.
What does specificity mean?
Specificity means matching training to the requirements of the activity. For example, a 100 meters sprinter would have very different training compared to a marathon runner. Do you know what kind of training method a sprinter may use compared to a marathon runner?
A sprinter wants to improve their speed, so I think they would want to do lots of interval training. A marathon runner wants to improve their cardiovascular fitness. Would they want to do lots of continuous training?
Excellent answer. That is correct. You have also applied the correct methods of training, which will help you to get more marks in the exam and shows a much better understanding of the topic.
Okay, what was the next principle?
Progressive overload.
What does that mean?
It means gradually increasing the amount of overload so as to gain fitness without the risk of injury.
Can you give me an example?
Certainly. One example is someone doing weights for the first time. If they were to try lifting 100 kilograms straight away, they might tear the muscle. So, to start, they might only lift 30 kilograms.
So, would they only ever lift 30 kilograms?
No. To progress and get stronger, they would need to gradually increase the amount they lift so the muscles learn to adapt to the new weight.
Okay, so after 2 weeks, would I change the weight I lift from 30 kilograms to 35 kilograms?
Exactly. This principle can be applied to all components of fitness. For example, if I wanted to improve my cardiovascular fitness, I would need to start off working at 60 to 80% of my maximum heart rate. As I became fitter, I would then be able to run further, faster, whilst maintaining the same heart rate.
So, at the start I may run for 15 minutes and complete 1 mile. Then after 2 weeks I may be able to run 1.5 miles in the same time, but my heart rate would still be the same.
That is correct. Now that leads us on to rest and recovery. This is very simple. It is allowing time for your body to rest, which means it can recover from the physical activity you have done.
Why is rest and recovery so important?
It helps you to prevent injuries from overtraining and allows your body to adapt.
Right, I've got that now. Next on the list is the FIT principle. What does it stand for?
It stands for frequency, intensity, time and type. In short, frequency is how often, intensity is how hard, time is how long, and type is which training method.
Okay, let's see if I can apply it correctly for a 100 meters swimmer. Frequency would be training 3 times a week. Intensity might be working at a target heart rate of 80% of my maximum heart rate. Time might be working at my target heart rate for 20 minutes. And finally, type would be completing fartlek training.
Well done. That is a very good example. Okay. The final principle is reversibility. Can you work out what reversibility means?
Well, reversibility sounds like the word reverse. So does it mean going backwards?
Well done. That is correct. So to elaborate, it means when you stop training, the fitness you have built up over time will start to decrease. This often happens when someone has an injury or illness which stops them from being able to train.
Would I lose my fitness immediately?
No, not immediately. It is a gradual process. Some people will lose their fitness quicker than others though. This depends on how long they have been training or could be due to the seriousness of their injury or illness.
Right, that's it. I think I now understand all of the principles of training. I can now explain what each one is and give practical examples of how to apply each principle.
Excellent. Remember, it is very important that you use the correct terminology in the exam and are able to spell each one correctly if you are to gain full marks. Now it's your turn.